A Book of Fairy Tales, Dean. Dean's A Book of Fairy Tales, 1977 edition. Illustrated by Janet and Anne Graham Johnstone. Contents:
Jack and the Beanstalk, page 43.
Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there lived a poor widow who had a son named Jack. One day, they found there was nothing left for them to do but to sell their cow to get some money to buy food and keep themselves alive. Neither the widow nor her son wanted to do this, as they were very fond of the animal, but there was nothing else to do, and so Jack set off early to walk the cow to market. Before he came to the town, however, he met an old man who had a handful of brightly colored beans, which he showed to Jack. "These are magic beans," he said. "I will give them to you in exchange for the cow."
Now Jack was only a small boy and thought the beans were wonderful. He forgot how much he and his mother needed the money he could get for the animal, and he took the beans. "The cow is yours," he cried. The man smiled. "You will not regret having sold the cow to me for the beans," he said. "Good luck to you, my lad." And he went on his way, leading the cow. Jack was very excited and ran home as fast as he could to show his mother the lovely beans. But when he gave them to her, he was amazed that she was so angry. The poor widow wept bitterly and said between her sobs, "Now we shall starve. These beans are useless. Why haven't you more sense?" Jack realized how foolish he had been, but what was done could not be changed. Sadly, he went into the garden. "The best thing I can do with these is to plant them," he thought. When he had planted the beans carefully, he returned to the cottage. "I am very sorry, Mother," he said, but the poor woman was still very cross. "Eat your supper and go straight to bed," she cried. They ate in silence. This was the last meal they could hope for. Now they had no cow. After supper, Jack helped his mother to clear the table and wash up. "Now off to bed at once, Jack," said his mother, but she was not quite so cross. Poor Jack could not get to sleep for a long time. He twisted and turned in his little bed, thinking how stupid he had been. But at last he fell asleep and awakened very early the next morning. When he sat up in bed, he was amazed to see huge leaves coming through his bedroom window. The beans had already grown into a great beanstalk. Jack hurriedly dressed and ran downstairs and out into the garden. The beanstalk had climbed up and up until the top of it was out of sight, and the huge leaves almost covered the high cliff which had always towered over the little cottage. Jack and his mother stared up into the leaves and wondered where the great beanstalk ended. "I am going to climb up and see," cried Jack. With his mother calling to him to be careful, Jack climbed up the twisted stems and out of sight. He climbed bravely towards the sky until he was very tired, but still he had not reached the top. He made one last spurt, and then he found himself looking over the topmost leaves of the plant and gazing out on wonderful green countryside.
Green fields stretched away to meet soft green woods and forests, and at the end of a wide path facing him, Jack could see a fine castle. He was just about to go and explore when an old lady appeared at his side. Jack thought the castle might be her home, but when he asked her if she lived there, she said she did not, but she would tell him the true story of the castle. "A giant lives there with his wife," said the old lady. "They stole the castle from a brave knight and killed him and his family. Fortunately for her, his wife was away from home with their baby son, and so she escaped. She still lives at the foot of this green country in a tiny cottage, trying to keep herself and her son. You are that son, Jack, and the wife of the brave knight is your poor mother." Jack could hardly believe his ears when he heard this story, and he wanted to go off at once and fight the giant to regain his father's castle. "That is good," said the old lady. "Try to get the hen that lays the golden eggs and the harp that talks." Jack strode boldly up to the castle, but nearly ran away when a giantess opened the door.
"You are just the lad I need to help me in the house," she grinned. "I will help you so that my husband will not find you and make a meal of you."
The giantess thrust Jack into a wardrobe in the hall and then set about getting her husband's supper. Jack heard a great voice.
"Fee, fa, fi, fo, fum. I smell the breath of an Englishman. Let him be alive or let him be dead. I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "Sit down and eat this elephant stew," said his wife. "That is what you can smell."
The giant ate a huge meal and at once fell asleep. When he was snoring, the giantess opened the door and let Jack out to help her. She pushed him back again when the giant wakened up, and Jack pressed his eye against the keyhole to see what would happen.
"Bring me my little hen,"
roared the giant. The giantess carried in a small brown hen and put it on the table in front of her husband.
"Lay!" he growled. The little brown hen laid 2 beautiful golden eggs. The giant dozed off, and Jack pushed open the door and crept across to the table. He snatched up the little hen and ran away as fast as he could, and hurried down the beanstalk to the safety of his own little home. Jack's mother wept for joy when she saw him, and when she heard the story of the old lady, she told Jack that it was all true. "I will go back for other riches and the talking harp," cried Jack. Jack's mother did not want him to go, but after a good night's sleep, Jack climbed up the stout stems and stepped off into the same green countryside. Jack hoped the giantess would take him on again as her servant, and as she did not have good eyesight and did not recognize the boy who had stolen her husband's hen, she agreed to let him come in and help her. Everything happened as before, but this time it was his money bags the giant ordered to have brought to him. As soon as he slept, Jack crept off with as many of them as he could carry and got them safely down the beanstalk. "We shall never want again," cried his mother. But Jack wanted his father's talking harp, and the next day he climbed the beanstalk yet again. Once more, Jack managed to persuade the giantess to let him come in to help her, and again she hid him in the wardrobe when her husband came in. "Fee, fa, fi, fo, fum. I smell the breath of an Englishman. Let him be alive or let him be dead. I'll grind his bones to make my bread," he roared. "It's the lamb stew you can smell," the giantess told him. "Eat it up," which of course he did. "Bring me my harp," he demanded.
The giantess brought the beautiful golden harp and put it on the table before the giant. Then it played to him until he fell asleep. Jack crept out, snatched up the harp, and ran away. But the harp did not like this. "Master! Master!" it cried. At once the giant awakened and ran after Jack,
so fast that the boy only just got down the beanstalk in time. The giant began to climb down after him. "Quickly, Mother, bring me an axe!" cried Jack. His mother pushed the axe into her son's hand, and with sure strokes he felled the great beanstalk. Down it fell, and with it came the giant, which was the end of him. Later, Jack and his mother made the long journey back to the green countryside on the high cliff which the beanstalk had reached, and went to live in their own beautiful castle.